Edelweiss link if I don't keep putting it in. So maybe copy and paste that, anybody who's with IPG, if I don't see it. So I'm excited. I'm Chris Conti. I'm the Midwest rep for IPG. And I'm excited to welcome Finnish author Antti Tuomainen to this call today. His fifth book for Orenda Books, Rabbit Factor, is about to be released. Thanks for joining us, Antti. IPG distributes several mystery and crime thriller publishers, and it's always a relief for me to be able to call a book Nordic noir or Scandinavian crime, as if just by saying that it gives the book some kind of cred and that Americans know what to expect from it. But I'm here to tell you that Rabbit Factor is anything but easy to define. It's a story of a very calculating and detail-oriented actuary who, maybe he's on the spectrum, I don't know. He inherits an adventure park, not an amusement park, from his brother that comes with a ton of financial problems and some thuggish criminal types. Our protagonist, Henry, is a bit Seinfeldian, a little bit Elmore Leonard-ish, I guess, which makes sense given that Steve Carell will be playing him in the upcoming movie adaptation. Antti, I'm hoping you can give everybody here a sort of elevator pitch for your book, and then we might have a couple of questions for you as well.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm really bad at elevator pitches, but I will do my best. In a nutshell, I would say the book is about love, death, and insurance mathematics. But a slightly longer version would be that it's about a man or a person who believes in rationality, logic, counting everything, counting probabilities, planning his life meticulously, and then one day that life is capsized entirely. And what he has to face is life and love and all that follows that. And so it's, I think one of the reasons I got into writing it was that I wanted to write a novel where this rationality runs into what we call feelings or emotions. And I thought it was something that spoke to me also about the world. The book got its start from a very, very simple thought I had about 3 years ago. I was walking home from the office, and I had been writing another book before that, and this was 4 years ago. I'd been writing another book, and I had been watching the news after working on the book, and the news were pretty crazy. And this was 4 years ago, by the way. It would be, of course, crazier today. But anyway, and so I had this thought when I was going home. I was thinking that, oh my God, the world is a pretty crazy place. What if there was still one person who insisted that things needed to make sense, that everything needed to be rational, based on logic? What would happen if that person just ran into this world? And so, half an hour later, I had my main character. My God, that was the worst elevator pitch I've ever heard.
No, not at all. That was actually perfect, and it made me realize what I left out of my description.
No, you shouldn't be disqualifying yourself like that. It's the only thing I'd say that was bad about your elevator pitch was you saying it was the worst elevator pitch. Everything else was on point. So next time you give it, cut that part out.
Thank you. Criticism always welcome.
Pam, you should introduce yourself and maybe ask a few questions.
Okay. My name is Pam Harcourt, and I work on the Trafalgar Square publishing line within IPG. So I get to champion all of the great import books that we have, including the Orenda Books, which is a pleasure. And I'm like a little more than halfway through the book. I have a number of questions. One of them is I'm curious about your personal relationship with math, because it is like it's his flaw that he's so married to that idea, but it's also like a superpower in some situations.
I was afraid you were going to ask something like that. I was really not, well, I'll put it this way. I was not, or maybe I'll put it this way. Math was not my strongest subject in school. But what I found out during the writing of the book and during the planning of writing the book was that the world of mathematics, I read a lot about popular fiction about mathematics and probabilities, and it's an enchanting world. It's absolutely fascinating. And even though I did not, well, I probably can be honest here, I probably did not understand everything I read, but I found it extremely fascinating. And I thought that it's a really interesting way of looking at life and looking at, phenomenons in life. And also I thought, what if there was this person who looked at everything through that lens? And I thought that could be funny.
Reading those scenes does, I feel like, give that pleasure of watching someone do something really well. Even though, like you, it's not the thing that I know how to do at all. But I believed it. I was following all of his calculations and feel like he could have convinced me of things. I wanted to ask about Schopenhauer.
Well,
who is the
Let's get
cat.
this party started. Yeah.
Schopenhauer kept making me think of the first scene in The Long Goodbye, and where Elliot Gould and his cat, and I was thinking about cats and noir. Could there be a noir genre without cats? How integral are they?
Very good question. And I actually, now I remember the scene that you're referring to, but I wasn't thinking about that. Schopenhauer was like a throwback to my youth. We've all been young. And when I was young, I was not, I did not make the wisest choices in life. And my favorite philosopher when I was in my 20s was Schopenhauer, who basically thinks that life is crap. But and I thought that was well, he says other things as well, but and I thought that was the way to look at world, but I don't anymore. So but I wanted to have that throwback into that era of my life, and I wanted to have like a Henry, the main character, sort of having his origins of his thought, back there, and now having a cat named Schopenhauer that he can talk to.
That totally makes sense.
Thank you.
I see. I've read a bit of Schopenhauer, and when I first saw a picture of him, I thought he could win an award for the man most in need of a hug.
Well, I would say that nowadays as well. When I was young, I thought he looked pretty smart, but I was young, I was foolish.
He was smart though, even though you don't agree with him as much anymore.
Hey,
Yeah.
Karen, I was hoping I could put you on the spot and you could tell us about the Toronto Book Fest and just Antti coming over to North America anyway, and maybe a little bit about the movie. I know I don't want to overshadow the book, but it is pretty exciting. So can you, if
I have a
you're,
house full of people here, so I'm trying to do this quietly.
sorry,
Everybody's here for Easter.
I'm sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
A little light on here. Yes, so Auntie's appearing at the Toronto Festival from the 2nd, I think the 2nd to the 5th in Toronto. And then he's doing something in New York, and then he's doing the Ottawa Literary Festival. I have my pajamas on.
Sorry.
Thanks, guys. And
No one minds.
He is open to doing anything else in New York. You were thinking maybe, Candace, while he's there. So the schedule is pretty loose around those. So, Auntie, I can't remember what date your event is in Toronto itself. Do you?
I would say it's on the 4th, but I could be wrong.
Okay, well, you're one step ahead of me.
General time frame's good.
So actually, Auntie, I think you should tell them about speaking at the mathematicians' lunch or dinner.
At their Christmas dinner. Yeah, this was another thing that happened. The book had been out in Finland a couple of months, and I got a request to be a speaker, and they were, the Finnish Actuary Union asked me to be their main speaker at their Christmas gala dinner, and I quite honestly told them that I know nothing about insurance mathematics. They said, perfect.
But you have a habit of doing this, don't you, Auntie?
I know, it's happened once before. Yeah, with the man who died and mushrooms. Yeah.
Everybody thought he was. Mushroom Magazine came to him and asked him, as a world expert on mushroom entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And I gave that interview as a mushroom expert. It went, surprisingly well. I mean, considering I know nothing about them.
Well, you did it really well. But I think this is part of the charm of the book, isn't it? I mean, it's just like a load of nonsense, and that's why we love it so much. And that's exactly why it's such a perfect book for now. And you can see why Steve Carell was drawn to it, because of the absurdity, but it's also poignant. I mean, Pam, when you get to the end, you'll see exactly what I mean. I mean, Henry falls in love, and it's a powerful antidote to the things that we're experiencing now, I think, and I think that's going to guarantee its success. The film. Auntie, so we know no more. The director is that right? Or the writer? The writer is?
The writer is Dave Hemmingson. He's now actually filming a film that he wrote for Alexander Payne, the director of Sideways and Nebraska, and now he's doing. I can't remember the name. Dave told me the name. No, I'm calling him Dave already. But he's a great writer, a great guy. We had a wonderful 2-hour Zoom conversation about the book and the story, and it was in a way also a bit embarrassing because he knew the book much better than I did. He would be talking about, stuff that, he would be quoting, I mean, literally saying that, on page 63, you're saying blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yes, I definitely am saying that. But let's hope for the best. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with those projects. But it's so far so good.
And the man who died will be available soon too.
Yes, they. I think they're releasing it here. It's a 6-episode miniseries they did here in Finland. It's a joint production with a German channel. It will be on a Finnish streaming service and some other services in June, July, I think.
And then here, your agent said,
he would know better. I have no idea.
yeah, it's been picked up by an English streaming service. He didn't say which one it was. Let's cross our fingers that it's a big one.
Oh, yeah, we would like that. Yeah.
Well,
how is being having your work adapted? Do you feel like you're letting go of something that you don't want to?
No, I'm quite okay. I mean, it's going to be different anyway, and it's going to be something very different from what I had in mind, because what I do, I try to write what I see, and I try to write it in a way that another person reading it will see what I saw when I wrote it. But that, I think when I've now seen a couple of rough cuts of the episodes, I can say that, nobody sees things the way I see, I suppose. but at the same time, I'm perfectly fine with, people adapting my work, because it's always an adaptation, and it's going to be different. So I'm fine, absolutely fine.
And the paperback.
Say it one more time, we'll believe you.
No.
Oh, there's a question in the chat. Did you work with a translator at all? Do you work closely, or do they just work?
I have been so very fortunate with the translator. David Haxton, who does my English translations, is a wonderful translator. And so it's gotten to a point where I sort of, he has free hands. I sort of read, I go through the translation, but it's gotten to a point where I just say, okay, David, good job. So, I mean, I used to go through it with a calm, like trying to find like the for every single word that I thought would, this doesn't quite, bring out the Finnish nuance of this or that. But now I'm perfectly fine with David doing an English version of the text.
And brilliantly.
He does that brilliantly.
I can't think that it's super easy to translate Finnish humor.
No, and Finnish is a very, very, very tricky language. It's just a difficult language, and I don't know. I have no idea why David chose to come to Finland and learn Finnish. I mean, why would anyone do that? But I mean, fortunately for me, he did, and Finnish is a very nuanced, beautiful language. But I think he does a great job because he's also a musician, and so he has this sense of music and sort of he can capture a tone, which is very important when you're translating humor. I think that's one of his secrets, anyway.
Right, makes sense, because it's not just about translating from the words from one word to another, it's about translating the meaning of those words as well.
Exactly, yeah.
And also getting the original rhythm and the poetry there, the musicality. That's why I think being a musician works so well, because that's part of an author's work, isn't it? And our translators are so important on our team. We choose and pay for the very best ones, because a bad translation can ruin a book.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I've kept you guys like 10 minutes longer than I said I would. So Karen, you can get back to your Easter party. You can maybe get ready for bed.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited about your book, and yeah, I'm hoping this helps everyone get behind it at their stores. Hope everyone else is excited now too.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to be there.
I hope
Have
we
fun
get
in North America.
Yeah, I hope we get to see you when you come to North America anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll slip down south a bit.